We're here on Watts Bar Lake in Tennessee at Bird Island. We affectionately call it that because of all the hundreds of birds that roost here and call it home: cormorants, egrets, herons, ospreys, and even ducks. Well, we've been doing this series on the dynamic of expectations. And one of the principles that we've learned is that unfulfilled expectations damage relationships. And we talked about looking at expectations as a continuum. On one end of the continuum, we fail to meet the expectations. On the other end of the continuum, we exceed expectations. And right smack dab in the middle is the 0 point, meeting expectations. The problem is when we go into a citizen contact, we never know where that 0 point is. We don't know what the citizen bases their expectations on. So the first rule for you as a law enforcement officer is to ground their expectations in reality, to nail that 0 point home where you can control it. So you take the initiative to be very intentional to explain to them what you're going to do before you do it. So you tell them what you're going to do, and then you do it. That grounds their expectations in reality. But now I want to talk about our standard of excellence, because this 0 point, although it's good to meet their expectations, it's certainly better than failing to meet the expectations, it's really not a very good standard of excellence. Some of you may remember back in the early days of your law enforcement career where you had some salty old sergeant that told you something like this: "Kid, I don't care what you do as long as I don't get any complaints." Or if somebody asks you, "How are things going?" you might say, "Well, I'm not getting any complaints. Must be pretty good." And so 0 complaints becomes our standard of excellence. It's a very, very poor standard. We need to be looking at going beyond that 0 point, to exceed the expectations, to give that citizen a wow experience. And when we fail to meet those expectations, those hurt. That's the ow experience I've talked about in the past. So how do you do it? You tell them what you're going to do, then you do it. You spell it out, A, B, C, D. And then you very methodically do exactly what you said you're going to do. "Ma'am, first thing we're going to do, I'm going to come in and take a detailed report of everything that happened here. We're going to catalog all the property that you had stolen or damaged. We're going to give you a copy of the incident report so you can file it with your insurance company." We lay out a number of expectations that you specify. And then very methodically, you do those very things, A, B, C, D. Then you go just a little bit beyond. You go into that realm of the wow experience. You exceed those expectations. How far you go depends on you, but I would say if you go just a little bit, that's better than none. You go a lot, that's even better. But wow experiences equate to a grateful spirit. That's public support. Our experiences, those hurt. Those generate bitter attitudes on the part of the citizens. Tell them what you're going to do, you meet the expectations, and then you go just a little bit beyond. And do not settle on 0 complaints as a effective, reliable, appropriate standard of excellence. This is Sheriff Ray Nash with Police Dynamics Media.